My name is Amy Smith and I am 71 years old. I grew up in BC, but I've spent most of my life living in Calgary, Alberta. I've taken pretty good care of myself so far. I love to go for walks and I eat healthy. I do have some health issues like high blood pressure, dyslipidemia, and gastroesophageal reflux disease, but I can manage them fairly easily. I also have a history of falling. I've also had cervical cancer a number of years ago, but I am cancer-free now thanks to a surgical procedure called a hysterectomy, where the surgeon took up my uterus. My entire family lives in British Columbia. I was also married, but I got divorced only 2 years after. I haven't talked to my ex-husband since, and I have a daughter from that marriage, but unfortunately we don't have a good relationship, and I never see her. I live in a house by myself on the north end of Calgary. Then one day, on August 10th of this year, I was rushed to the hospital. That's when the doctor told me that my neighbor had found me underneath my dresser, and I had been lying there for 7 days. I had suffered from a massive right subdural hematoma, and had gone in and out of consciousness during those 7 days. The doctor explained to me that there was bleeding in my brain. I had pressure ulcers all over my body as well that went down to my bones. The pain I felt was indescribable. I had also sustained an acute kidney injury and contracted MSSA due to my wounds getting contaminated with bacteria from my own feces and urine. The doctor explained to me that this bacteria was similar to MRSA, except it is not resistant to antibiotics. I was also severely dehydrated and emaciated. The very last thing I can remember before I went unconscious was that I was grocery shopping. I remember getting home and not feeling very well, so I went upstairs to take a bath. I think then I fell in the bath and hit my head. I remember thinking I should get some help, but everything after that became blurry. After hitting my head in the bath, I regained consciousness a while later to find myself underneath my dresser, and I remember trying so hard to get myself out from under it, but my clothing was stuck and I couldn't move. I was so scared, and I remember thinking to myself that this was it, that no one was going to find me and that I was going to die. But then I realized I've overcome so many issues in my health, this was not going to defeat me. I kept calling for help every time I woke up and prayed someone would find me. It was a miracle that my neighbor found me. My neighbor said that he came to check on me because he noticed my back door was left open. After putting together what happened to me and realizing I was so close to death, I realized how lucky I was to be alive. That was the scariest time of my life. When I got to the hospital, I had surgery to fix the bleeding in my brain. My head had been partly shaved so the surgeon could suture up my skull. I think it looks kind of funny, but I do think I am looking better than I did as I've gained my weight back. It was a very long recovery process after that. I was on lots of medications and I had lots of physiotherapy appointments to help me recover. Just when I thought all my troubles were finally going away, I was told by a friend that my landlord had sold the house I was renting and that I was now homeless. Once I knew for sure that I was homeless, I was furious. And to make matters worse, a friend had seen him drinking and driving around Calgary in my vehicle while I was in the hospital. I decided to get the police involved, but he wasn't arrested. I talked to my doctor, and he recommended that I try occupational therapy and social work to work something out for living arrangements after I'm discharged from the hospital. Since then, I've talked to my landlord and negotiated that I would have a month after getting home from the hospital to find a new place to live. I was already worried about any medical bills for home care for my wound and not being able to work, and now I had to find a new place to live. Some days the stress is so bad, I'll just sit and cry. Luckily, I'm seeing a counselor now, and I've been able to talk about my fears, and I think that's helped me relieve some of my stress. Walking around also helps calm me down if I start to get really stressed. I am grateful to be alive, but I'm very scared as to what the future holds for me. Most days I put on a brave face, but deep down I am terrified. The hardest part of this journey has been that I felt so lonely because my family doesn't live here. I only have a few friends that visit from time to time. One day, a couple weeks before I was discharged, I had a student nurse work with me. I was reluctant to open up to her at first, but after being with her for the second day, we had some really good conversations about our lives, in particular my health scare. The next week, my nurse had a different patient, but she still came to talk to me after she finished helping her new patient. We had another therapeutic conversation, and when I told her I was being discharged tomorrow and how excited and nervous I was, I broke down. I realized that it had been a month and a half since my accident, and that it was so scary for me to think about what it would be like to go home after so much time. I still feel dizzy from time to time when I'm walking, and I do still have a wound on my lower back. I also believe that I'm not fully mentally healed from that experience, and I don't know if I'm ready to go home. I want to leave the hospital and to sleep in the same house again, but it's a scary thought. I'm scared I might fall again. Luckily, my best friend plans on staying the first night with me, so I'm not alone. Now that I'm being discharged, I know I'll have a nurse who's going to change my wound dressing every day, and I will still need to take long-term antibiotics. This means that I'll have to hire home care of some sort for whatever I end up moving to, or I will have to be a part of a community transition program. I've been independent for so long, I don't know if I will like having a nurse work with me every day. I do get pretty lonely, but I don't want my independence to be taken away from me. I hope I can build a relationship with the nurse who will be coming every day. It really helped me when I was able to talk to the student nurse about my feelings, as well as with my counselor. As I was being discharged, I talked to my student nurse and told her how much I appreciated having someone to talk to. I gave her my phone number and said that it would be nice if we could go for coffee one day and keep in touch. I'm uncertain for what my life holds ahead, but I know there'll be sunny skies, and that despite the stress, I will get through this difficult time. Even though my health has not always been in my favor, I'm strong, and I believe I can make it through whatever curveballs life throws at me.